How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I am talking to Patrick Horvath.
Hello. Yeah, that's correct. You did it.
Awesome.
First time was the winner.
The first time. Okay. Well, you seem like a nice enough guy that would not correct me how to pronounce your name. But just making sure. Yes, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I will be 100% honest with you. My viewers have been just hyping your name and your work up so much that I was like, well, I can't say no to this interview because they'll kill me. So I wanted to talk to you. So I did get a chance to read the first issue of Beneath the Trees.
Cool.
And you are here to talk about that and to also talk about the Zoop, which, by the way, if you go to the description of this video, you can find the link directly there to his new book that is coming out and that is being published over by Zoop. So tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me how you got into the world of comics first. And then we can talk, of course, about this work that you're doing.
Sure. I got into comics. I mean, specifically what I'm doing now was kind of a long, windy road where, like, growing up, I've been drawing since I was like 5, or maybe even a little earlier, and making comics almost as early, just in terms of, like, you know, a couple panel that had been, you know, just fun, right? About whatever. Like, I would make these, like, they're almost like single page, like, you know, sequential booklets that I'd made. And they would be about kind of whatever, like going to the park and seeing Superman and the Flash was one. There was one, it was like a tea party at Dracula's house. And so I got older, and like in my teens, I was making strips, like little comic strips about stuff. And I even made like a little, like, kind of mini graphic novel comic just for funsies, which I didn't even think of as a graphic novel thing at the time. It was literally just like, it's like a 40-some page thing I made just for fun. Never even printed it up or anything. Literally just have the pages just to do it and show it to my friends and stuff like that. So it's all for fun. Never thought I would ever do anything professional at all. And then around high school, I got it in my head I would love to make movies. And so went to college for that. And then pretty much left drawing to the side.
Okay.
And in terms of comics reading, like, I definitely caught the speculator wave, like when Image was coming in.
How many copies of Wildcats #1 do you have?
No Wildcats. I was a Spawn guy. I had some. God, what else did I get at the time?
Did Youngblood? What about Shadow?
I had Youngblood. I had Max. I was into, and then I was like, some of them. I wasn't too into Marvel, but like I was definitely a Wolverine guy for a while. And then, like, weirdly, my first like trade of Wolverine I had was the Mignola one, where he goes off to, like,
the jungle.
Yes. I reread that thing a bunch. Anyway, so that was like the early comics reading, right? And then when I got to college, I just wasn't reading as much at all.
I get it.
And then later, I'd had friends that totally schooled me on the whole other part of, like, underground comics, and, like, got into, like, Daniel Klaus stuff and Charles Burns, and even into, like, you know, European creators like Mobius and stuff like that. And manga and everything, like, just kind of, you know, broadened my horizons a bunch, like, way later in life. And then so at college, like, I just started focusing on film, hardly drew at all. And then I got into trying to just be, like, create stuff on the indie level of just, like, DIY filmmaking, you know, buying our own camera gear and film. And this is before HD was even a thing.
Before you could film on your iPhone.
Yeah, iPhones did not exist. You know, first time I made my first movie, I think they just started existing when I first made my first movie after I moved to LA. So around, like, early 2008, I made my first feature here. Okay. And then, and there was, like, a horror comedy, and mostly ended up just doing independent horror stuff. And worked on 4 features over the course of, like, you know, 7-8 years or so. And then around 2010, after, like, the second movie, I was like, man, I miss drawing. Like, I miss drawing. I miss creating something that doesn't take a year. So like, I like the idea of just coming up with an idea and drawing it and then being done with it. And then of course, like at that time I was reading a lot more interesting comic stuff that I hadn't even heard of before. And so that was, it kind of naturally followed as like, why don't this is an awesome venue for storytelling. Cause I still was, I love writing and I've been writing a bunch. And I was starting to draw more. So then I was like, if I get my drawing chops up, to speed, I bet I could try just doing comics. I bet that'd be really fun. And so that's exactly kind of what I started trying to do around like 2010 or so. And so by 2016, I finally felt that I could draw something that would be, presentable.
Okay, wait. Okay, so back up just 1 second. To recap, you started making your own graphic novels as a kid, but you didn't know that's what you were making.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of us. I used to do that with my brothers. I would
I
would sell my brothers my comic, and they would be like,
"Oh,
how much are you charging me?" And I was like, 25 cents. That's cheaper than Marvel and DC. So, granted, it was only like 1 page, but then you moved into college and got out of comics and got into film, and you did that for about 7 to 8 years, right? But always in the back.
I mean, I did film. Yeah, I mean, I did film from like, I think I made my first movie in Chicago in like 2005.
Oh, okay. Then, so it was a while.
And then last movie I wrote and directed on was 2015.
Okay, so about
like maybe like a decade. Yeah,
I mean, it's not like.
I mean, I still work in movies, but I haven't been. Yeah, and then like since then, I've also been doing. I would do a lot of storyboarding. I also work on like previs stuff for special effects stuff. All again, pretty much in horror movies, but yeah, some actual like special effects design work and just random stuff. But yeah, so like last movie I storyboarded on was last year. So I'm still in it to some degree, but a lot less after it started Beneath the Trees. But yeah, so it was definitely towards around like, I would say like 2011, I was like, I should really start, like, I think it would be worth my time to try and, practice up drawing more, because I feel like it would be really fulfilling to do comic work in addition to film work.
So I wanted to ask you, of course, I waited till we're live to do this because I am a pro like this. When looking up your IMDb, there's, believe it or not, you're not the only Patrick Horvath. For some reason, that name is pretty popular. There's a couple of you. Did you work on Southbound?
Oh yeah, I wrote and directed on Southbound. Yeah,
dude, love Southbound. My brother and I love that movie. Okay, good. Yeah.
So that was like the last.
I was going to say I hated it if it wasn't you. If it was another Patrick Horvath, I was just making conversation.
Oh, no, yeah, I wrote and directed on it. I did the segment that shows up with the guy who goes into the bar with the shotgun.
Yes,
yeah, that's the one I wrote and directed.
Dude, that movie is so good. I love
it. I appreciate that. Yeah. Really proud of that movie. It was, and it's fun because I've been working with those folks since, because it was like 4 filmmaking teams that all worked on it, including Roxanne Benjamin, David Bruckner, and Radio Silence. And then it was a totally cool experience, because this doesn't happen as often. But I wouldn't know, because I haven't worked on that many anthologies, but like we all got along really well.
How did that even start? Like
all of them had the project rolling, and they needed a 4th to come in to finish it out, and have their own segment. And so they approached me because of mutual friends, and I had worked on a movie called Entrance that I co-directed with Dallas Hallam. And
also we made a good movie.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
we made that movie for like $12,000. And which is peanuts. And they were like, okay, cool. We definitely have more than $12,000 to do this segment, but like, we appreciate that you can do a lot with a little, and you can also deliver a finished movie. Like, that's what we need right now, even though I didn't know pretty much any of them that well beforehand. And so, then, yeah, I got brought into it. I was going to co-direct it with Dallas, and then he had to pull out because he had other work commitments he had to do. And so I just ended up, we co-wrote it, and then I directed that segment. and edited and did the special effects and did some of the music and then whatever. It was, yeah, that was the last one that I'd worked on. And then, yeah, and also had directed Entrance, worked on, there's a movie called The Pact, and I co-directed a sequel to that. And then also had, before all that, we did this like zombie comedy movie called Diner, spelled DIE-NER. Get it?
Okay.
And those are the 4 features that I'd worked on. Would still love to do stuff, but it takes so long. And then also it's like, it depends on what the project is, but more often than not, especially indie stuff, like all that money that you get usually goes into the movie. And you don't get paid that much unless maybe you hit a hallelujah moment and you sell it for real big or something. I don't know.
I mean, we caught it on streaming, of course, so I'm sure that that's all different too, like how that works and per view or whatever.
Most of that, as far as I know, a lot of the streaming stuff, the way it's currently chunked out is like you sell it for chunks of time, and then the licensing fee goes to the producers and the trickles down to like directors, writers, SAG, and all that.
Okay.
So it's definitely not a per view basis, but currently it might change given everything that happened last year. But yeah, that, and again, that stuff was super fun. Like it's definitely a passion of mine. Like I love filmmaking. The idea when I first got into comics was that it would be fun to be able to work on comics in between developing features, because it takes a long time to develop them often. Sort of like the project. Oh man, I lost my internet again. I'm back.
Okay, you're good. Your audio is good, but you're frozen.
It's still frozen.
You're frozen, but can you hear me?
I don't know if it's still going.
Oh, no.
Yes, I can.
Okay, if you can hear me,
I'm back.
Okay, there's a little bit of a lag, but you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay, cool. I don't know what just happened. Apologies. Did I hold on a second? I think I figured out what happened. 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could juggle. I'd be juggling right now while Patrick is doing things. I could showcase the Incredible Hulk omnibus that comes out later this month.
There you are. Wow, lost my internet.
You just popped up. Okay.
Shazam! I just lost my internet. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's just a little bit of a lag, but that's okay.
I'm on some random internet right now. I'm not even on my regular internet.
You're stealing your neighbor's internet. This is amazing.
Yes, I am.
Cool Hollywood story. I love it.
Yeah, that worked. Totally random. Anyway, I don't know where I left off before I lost power. What were we just saying?
We were talking about how you wanted to go back into the world of graphic novels.
Yeah. Because it would be great to be able to just hop off on that project in between, work on a graphic novel, work on a feature, just because development takes so long. And it kind of worked out well enough, but right now there's just a lot more traction that I'm having with comics, so I'm just sticking around comics right now.
Well, brother, your name has been blowing up everywhere I go, man. It was really cool, and I every time I wanted to come by C2E2 to see you, I noticed that you had been taking your time talking to people, so I was like, I don't want to be that guy that's like, hey man, I'm going to interview you. Like, I just wanted to come and say hi. I was trying to catch you on Thursday.
Sure, yeah.
But I know that feeling of like meeting somebody's, whose work you enjoyed and wanting a chance to just tell them, I really like this about your comic book, or I really like this about Outbound. So, yeah, I'm glad that you decided to come on. That's kind of cool. So how did that come about then? You said it was 2016 where you went back and you were like, hey, my art is good enough. I think I can make a comic.
Yeah.
So it was like of 2010 to 2016, 6 years, you started picking up the pencil, and then you were like, were you self-taught or did you go to school?
I mean, I didn't go to school, but I mean, like, I definitely used a lot of whatever online resources I could find for, like, like the Andrew Loomis sort of it was Andrew Loomis and George Bridgman were like my two, like, I'll check out these books. And there were two definitely different styles of breaking down anatomy, but both had their strong points. And I kind of just pieced together whatever I could find that, you know, to help me on my way of just kind of breaking down the human body drawing wise. And then like finding other references for just, you know, drawing backgrounds and stuff, and just doing my best, like literally just drawing every day. Like I would draw and draw all the time. And around 2014, Josh Trujillo, the writer, reached out, or actually he had like a Craigslist post looking for an artist for a comic, and I responded.
Okay.
And he was into it. He was into my stuff, and he was like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do it. And so he had an ongoing anthology that he was self-publishing called Love Machines.
Okay.
And I did a story for him. And so that was like my first ever getting to work with a writer and actually seeing a comic script and all that. And so that was an incredible experience. And I really love working on that. And then around 20, I want to say like 20, not 2017. I feel like it might have been a little later, but W. Maxwell Prince, who did Ice Cream Man,
Yeah.
reached out about doing a cover. And so I did a cover.
So he had seen your stuff
on Instagram, liked it, and wanted to know if I would like to do a variant for one of the issues.
Okay.
And so that was huge. And then based on that, which went really well, he wrote that anthology, Ha Ha, about Sad Clown. Yeah. And so then he asked if I'd be interested in doing one of those issues. And so that's how that came about. So he was like, if you're into it, I want to have an idea for a story that I would like to write specifically for you as the artist. If you're if you want to do it. And I was like, yes, that would be awesome. So that's how that came about. And at that point I felt like pretty like, oh yeah, I like doing that style was specifically like ink and gouache. And I kind of realized at that point, I love doing like, you know, working traditional. I kind of realized like that's where I want to be. So
when you mean traditional, you mean
like just not digitally,
not digital,
just working on paper.
I appreciate that. I know, you know, it's not for everybody. I get it, but it was just the way that I grew up reading comics.
Sure. Well, and personally, I mean, there's a lot of artists who are digital only, and they're great. And I wish that I could work as quickly as it seems they do, but like it takes me so long to be happy with anything digitally that I'll end up, you know, overworking a page. And I'm I find myself trying to make it look basically like it does traditionally. So why don't I just work traditionally? And that's how that all happened.
I'm loving this story. This is really cool how it just kind of came from, you know, finding a Craigslist ad to somebody looking at your art on Instagram and going, hey, would you like to do a cover? That's really cool. And then that led to the anthology. And well, I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go on. What else happened, Patrick?
I mean, at that point, it was like after I did Ha Ha, Southbound was totally the connection to working with IDW. One of the people with the distributor ended up like working over at IDW, and then they basically connected me to IDW by showing my work around to Mark Doyle, who had been brought on as director of editorial. And so that was 100%. Like Paul Davidson, who was with The Orchard, who is the distributors for Southbound, ended up at IDW, and that's how my stuff got shown around.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, totally random. Yeah, totally random. And then Mark had seen it and was like, oh, cool. And obviously, you know, knew that I was also a writer. So was like, well, if you have any ideas to pitch for like a graphic novel or something, let us know. And so that's exactly what I had, like 4 pitches that were just kind of sitting around in my head. So I gave them all 4, and one of them was Beneath the Trees, and they were like, "Oh yes, we like this. Like, please send us more of this. We like it." So
How
and
long
then
was your pitch? How
the
long was
pitch itself was like a paragraph, maybe like 2 paragraphs.
that's it?
Yeah, just because it was because I was sending them like 4,
Oh, that's
maybe it
right.
was a little more than that, but I was giving them like a shotgun blast of just like total, brief ideas. And it was the
Mhm.
full like a couple paragraphs, but it laid out the whole like what it would be. Like I wasn't like hiding anything, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't trying to build suspense. I was literally just like, here's would be the story of this. It'd be about a serial killer bear, and then there's another serial killer in the town, and then basically she has to figure it out, and then then this happens, then that happens, and that happens, and that would be the end. And they were
Mhm.
like, okay, yes, awesome, send us more of an outline. We're like, okay, cool. So then I went away for like a week or so and wrote out the whole 6-issue outline. And then that was what that was. Initially it was going to be a graphic novel, so it was like
That's what
chapter
I
breaks. And
yeah.
then initially it was like 5 chapters, and they were like, this would be great as 6 actually, or 6 issues. We should let it breathe a little more. And I was like, oh, that'd be great. Oh, did you say issues? And they're like, oh yeah, like we think this would be great as a monthly. Let's do it that way. And I was like, that would be wonderful. Okay. So that's kind of how it all came about. Very much like wasn't intending. I don't know. All of it was just kind of, I had the ideas for whenever the moment happened, and then the moment presented itself. And so I was able to just, hand them over.
That is so cool. And it's so cool how much word of mouth just spreads. Like I think the very first person I ever heard talk about it is my buddy Ben, Bunkmaster B. This is a big one. This is the one we've been waiting for, Beneath the Trees. Like he loves it. Once I told him I was interviewing you, he was like, "Oh man, I'm there." He was super excited. But he was the one that was telling my wife. Obviously, I'm into big books, collected edition.
Oh,
So
of
your
course. Yeah,
graphic
yeah, yeah.
novel would have been, I would have been ready. My wife is the one that's into single issues, and she gets weekly comic
Mhm.
books, and she has been looking for your book, but she couldn't find a first printing of the first one. So she was like, I'll just wait for the trade. But even
Sure.
my wife, who just started going back to the comic book store, was looking for your book because there were so many people on our Saturday streams that have been mentioning this book. Like, hey,
Mhm.
Melanie, don't forget to go and pick this up because it's that good. And we have a Discord and they've been talking about it. So that's really cool that it started as a graphic novel idea, that you pitched it to them, and then they said, hey, this would be better as single issues.
Mhm.
And did you have to tweak it a little bit going from graphic novel, or in your head, did you always have
No.
like chapter breaks? No.
Basically they thought I pitched them singles because of the way that it was so well worked out with the chapters. The only thing I would say that I adjusted when I actually got into writing it was making sure that each issue felt like it had its own personality. Uh, um, start in between each, you know, in between each issue. Because I was afraid that it would feel like I didn't want it to be, I always like it whenever you can just have the single issue and then feel like you have the full thing. You know what I mean? Like you have like a complete
Oh,
idea of like whatever that thing is.
so it's more it's because I mean it's one long story, so each issue doesn't really
Of
wrap up.
course, yeah,
Right, right.
definitely.
One continuing
Yeah, yeah,
story.
yeah. It doesn't, yeah, yeah, yeah. To all ongoing. But like if as you get through it, like issue 1 very much is sort of setting the stage. Issue 2 is more of like maybe a traditional horror comic.
Mhm.
Issue 3 gets more into like a more of an interior psychological thing. Issue 4 is like maybe more traditionally what people thought they were getting into when they started reading it, without spoiling anything. So I very much wanted them to have their own vibes. So that's kind of probably the only thing I sort of, made sure to kind of adjust as I was doing it for singles.
When when you pitched this idea to IDW and they came back and said, okay, 6 issues, give it room to breathe. At this point, you had done an anthology that somebody else had written,
Mhm.
and you had drawn a cover. Um,
Two anthologies.
2 anthologies. That's right. That's right. Did it seem like at one point did you go, "Oh, I have to write and draw these"? Um, like, can I do that?
Yeah.
Did that moment ever happen?
Of like freaking out about it? Not
Sure.
necessarily. I guess just because of my background working in movies. So it's like, I mean, movies are like arduous, man. It's very much like I always say it's like eating the elephant, because you're like, how do you eat the elephant one bite at a time? Like you can't freak out about the idea you have to eat a whole elephant. You're just like, well, you just got to dig in and start doing the work. So I'm definitely not like, that didn't really faze me, just because I guess I'd been so used to that. But the only thing different, I guess, about it there's a lot different than making movies, obviously, but part of it though is that you just have yourself to worry about. So you didn't, because I didn't have to rely on anybody else except for my editors, and then also Hassan Otsman, who does the lettering. Like it was such a small team. It was, I guess, like lower stress, but then like the actual it's just a lot of work. So you're just like putting in the every day, sitting at the table drawing, even if you don't feel like it, stuff like that.
Well, I know that you mentioned having to do all kinds of things in movies, including storyboards and things like that. But with this, it was like it's a monthly series, so there are deadlines, and you have to meet those deadlines. You're your own boss, because you're right, like you're writing and drawing the story, and I'm always curious when something like this blows up with issue number 1, right? Like there was so much. Was there ever that pressure of like, oh man, I hope the rest of the series delivers?
Yeah,
or
definitely. Yeah. But I mean, at that point I had like I was like finishing up issue 4 when the first one came out.
Okay.
So you're just kind of like, well, I hope they like what I do with it, because it gets a lot weirder than issue 1. And it takes like some definite turns. So I didn't know if people would be on board for it. I think the most surprising thing about all of it is, for as weird as it gets, like people have been really into it. So it's very encouraging to just sort of follow that,
did you say it's surprising? It's surprising.
Yeah, very surprising. I did not
people
expect
are into serial killers.
No, it's not even that. That's the whatever. Like Dexter, even though this isn't, Dexter has been used as a touchstone for this for a lot of people in describing it. I don't know. I have seen like an issue of Dexter, or sorry, an episode. I've seen an episode of Dexter. So like I'm not as well versed in it, but so I bet. That said, people love serial killers. Like that's not surprising. The surprising thing was like when it gets into a lot weirder stuff throughout the series. Especially issue 3. Issue 3 deals a lot with grief, and I wasn't sure if how that was going to land. Or like issue 5 gets very psychological and strange, and so it's very.
6 isn't out yet, is it?
6 is out tomorrow.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Completely planned this.
Yeah. So it's it gets dark. It gets real dark. Like a lot more than I think people even thought it would. So it's kind of one of those things. Oh yeah, the trade is going to be released. It's going to be released on September. I think it says September 17. Was the last thing I saw from Penguin Random House. So,
that's exciting. That's exciting. That's your graphic novel, man.
Yep. It finally came out. It's coming out. But yeah, you can pre-order it from, your local shop or wherever now. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's going to be really bizarre to have it all out. Yep. There you go. September 17th.
September 17th. Yes. So was one of the pitches that you gave to IDW the free for all?
No, nope. Free for all was just like a one-shot thing that I did a couple of years back.
Okay.
So it was just already done. I made it as just something to have to show people. So like when W. Maxwell Prince was asking if I would be interested in haha, he also was like, and do you have anything you can show me that, of your sequential work? Because like sequential art's like a lot different than just posting a daily drawing on like Instagram. You know what I mean? Like you have to have an idea of spreads and how they work and comics grammar and how that all, how flow works for readers. So I wanted to basically just have something that I could show. And that was the main reason why I made it. But it was totally designed to just be like a, like a 44-page little one shot, just to kind of, one, practice, and then two, tell this kind of funny cathartic story that I wanted to do.
And right now, that's what Zoop is doing. They're doing the physical copy of this book. That comes in very different formats. There's the PDF file. There's the physical copy. There's a physical signed copy, in case you couldn't make it to C2E2 and see Patrick. There's the remark, because you can now do that, right? Like that's cool. There's an art print, and then there's the retailer bundle. There's also editions of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Lies, or Nobody Sees. Like, there's those different covers there. There's
a couple of exactly. Yeah, we've got special variants that we're selling too.
And then there's commissions from you too. That's pretty cool. An original art page from Free for All. When did you make Free for All again?
It was between like 2018 to 2020.
Okay.
And it was and it was like totally split too, because it's like half, not even half, like I think 14 of the pages were all just traditional on Bristol board. And then I was coloring it in Photoshop. And then that was like where I was like, maybe I just do all this digitally. So then from like page 15 through the end, it's all digital. And that's when I realized that I want to paint. But I was like halfway through it, and I was like, I should have painted this. But that's how you learn. I mean, it's funny because I also was coloring it, and it was one of those things too. And I lettered it, and I was like, well, maybe, there's definitely my hat goes off to all the creators that can do them all. There's not a lot of them, but there are definitely comic creators that can handle all the art, coloring, and lettering. And that's amazing. I am not that person. And so it takes me a lot longer. And it was just like a lot more arduous. That is probably why, because I was also squeezing it in between day job stuff while I was, from 2018 to 2020. I mean, it mostly got finished up between 2018, 2019, but like I think I finally like did the final push around like April 2020. And then just put it out digitally because it was free, it was a free way to put it out there. And anybody that wanted to check it out could download it. And then, no hardcover as of yet.
Get the trade paperback. That needs a hardcover. The hype is real.
That would be cool. Oh yeah, that would be cool if we could get a hardcover well, I'll tell you what, it's getting also published in France, and that's getting a hardcover if you want to read French. Yep.
The French beat us to a hardcover?
Yeah.
I gotta talk to my contact at IDW.
Yeah. Ankama is out in France.
You cut out just a little bit. Who's publishing it in France?
Oh, Ankama.
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 Okay. Yeah, we're people get excited over hardcovers, especially if they're deluxe hardcovers, and we know IDW.
I mean, like I still have all the original art, and so I'm making sure I've got high scans of everything before I think about selling it. Specifically because it'd be really cool if we could do like a deluxe, like large edition hardcover thing or something.
Oh, Patrick, you're in the right place.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be awesome. Absolutely, man.
I mean, you never know. It might take 10 years, but like, I'm in for the long haul.
I think it really depends on the sales of the trade paperback, which
sure.
And then the popularity of this. I mean, obviously you have trade waiters, people that wait, that aren't Wednesday warriors. But I think I think, and I don't think it would be 10 years. I think in due time, it will definitely get some kind of hardcover treatment, especially with how successful the series has been for IDW. I mean, they will push it, and they know how they'll know how to market it. Leave the trade paperback there for a year and then announce a hardcover. That would be cool. What about you? Cool. What are you going to do after this, man? 6 issues. What's next?
Yeah. I mean, even when I started doing issue 1, it was pretty apparent that I would love to do more with the world that this whole thing was creating. So, I mean, I mean, nothing's been set up yet with IDW, so we're talking about possibly doing more. But I mean, we still have to figure that out. And then beyond that, I've definitely gotten a lot of attention from other folks as well. So
Yeah.
I'm also just one person, so I can only draw on like one thing. So whatever it's going to be, I have a lot of ideas that I would like to do. So I'm also, very much considering working with another artist and writing other books as well.
Now you can be the one putting out a Craigslist ad.
Yes, it's full circle moment.
That's how it works, man. All right. Hear me out, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine, The Jungle Adventure 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love it.
I already got the artist for you, Mike Mignola.
Awesome.
I don't know if you've heard of that guy or
not. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Who knows? But yeah, I've definitely got a lot of stories that I'd still like to do. So hopefully this is just the beginning.
I hope so too, man. And it seems to have really paid off for you. You were cutting out a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just a lag. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, at the moment, everything's pretty much all things free for all, and then we've got the trade coming out in September that we're putting together with a bunch of fun back matter and stuff.
Okay. Do you know what type of bear Samantha is?
I mean, like in my mind, Samantha's just like a real general brown bear.
A general brown bear. I get that.
Not like a grizzly necessarily.
Well, that's what happens, bro. I mean, that's where we get a lot of ideas from too, is Europe and their big, beautiful books.
They got a lot of really cool stuff.
Oh gosh, yeah. And they've been doing it for ages. Not for them, DC wouldn't have had the absolute editions. This is a good question. With Beneath the Tree's success, could we see more books in this particular universe?
Sure. Why not? I mean, I love it. I love the idea. It's pretty ripe for doing any sort of spin-offs. I think that there's just a ton of room to be able to do all sorts of stuff.
Or if not in this universe, more from you and fully painted comics.
Oh, definitely. Like pretty much everything I do moving forward is going to be painted.
I love that. That's awesome.
I feel like it's funny because I mean, I do enjoy doing ink and gouache, and I'm also interested in doing like acrylics and gouache.
Okay.
Just to kind of change it up even more. So I don't know if you're familiar with Black Sad from so Juanjo Guardito does the art. And then his stuff, he does like his line work is like almost like brown black. And it's not even full black, just because from what I've picked up in interviews, he very much wanted it to sit in the world more than to be separate in terms of the line work. And so in working more painted, I find myself being like, yes, like I think I need to like do all painted, line work. And then, but I mean like acrylic. So, and all the way I work, it's all like Sumi ink, and the kind I use is waterproof, just because it's treated with, it has shellac. And so then I paint on top of that. And I really prefer to work that way, like doing the line work first and then painting.
You do know though that he takes like 3 years in between graphic.
Yeah, he works a lot. Yeah, I mean, like his
super
stuff.
Nice guy, by the way. Super nice guy.
His stuff is like the bar. Like his stuff is like that's like the top tier. And so I'm doing like a shadow version of that.
Well, your stuff, man, your stuff is solid though.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Short. It's solid, but it's always good to like have that tier ranking. Like, where do you need to be, right?
Yeah. Like it's for me, it's like that. Yeah, I love having the folks that I always look up to, that I'm always just like in awe of, especially with traditional stuff, just because I love thinking about wrapping my head around how they did it. Like even like Martin Simmons stuff right now is incredible. Or like I don't know if you're familiar with Manuel Fior, who's a French comic creator. I think he's, or actually, I take it back. He's Italian. He's
Okay.
based in France currently, but his work is all gouache, pretty much, and it's incredible.
What was the comic?
The comics that he's done, there was one that's like 5,000 kilometers per second. Was his big like early one. He most recently did Celeste, which was like a couple years back.
Oh my God, he did one.
And then he just had one come out called Hypericum, which came out here this.
That was effing beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
His work is so good. And then
Fantagraphics released that one.
Yeah, all his stuff ends up coming in the States through Fantagraphics.
And I both love Celeste and Hypericum.
Yeah,
both of them are freaking beautiful books.
They are. So he's like definitely one of those people I look up to in terms of being like, yes, see, I can. That's who I need to like, that's who I need to keep my eye on. That's awesome.
I do love the fact that you're looking outside of the U.S. though for inspiration too. That's
yeah. Cool. I mean, I feel like it's. I mean, there's definitely artists in the States who I look up to as well. But it's in terms of painting stuff, it seems like maybe more European stuff is kind of like that. I don't know.
I think so too, because I mean, we have Marvel and DC who have a well-oiled monthly issue machine, right?
Sure.
Like that. They've been doing that for decades. They've been doing it for a long time. We have the smaller publishers can take risk on experimental things. Or you want to do like a little mini series here and there, sure. But you can't really do that with like X-Men needs to have a monthly series, right?
No, I know. Yeah. I mean, like you look at like the closest we get is like Alex Ross and his work in gouache.
And even that is a huge deal. It's like, the return of Alex Ross to Justice League or whatever for a year.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic Four, Alex Ross was nuts.
Oh my gosh, that thing was so good.
Yeah. And so it's but it's, and again, like, and I mean, he's like, and also like Bill Sienkiewicz, like, I mean, the work that all these artists do is very much like the thing that makes me really excited about making stuff. But as you point out, like it's very relatively far and few between just because of how intensive it is. So like, I don't know if it's funny because like in terms of making movies, a lot of the movies that I love are the ones that didn't really like, they weren't the most practical movies to make or whatever. And so, or they didn't make the most in the box office when they came out or whatever, like, but I kind of find myself like drawn to that in the comics world as well, where it's like, this was like a strange project that, I mean, a lot of like, especially with Alex Ross and Sienkiewicz, like they definitely are heavy hitters. Like,
it's a huge deal when both of those come back.
Right. And I mean, like they have like masterworks that they've done that, were also mainstream. And you look at something like, Electra Assassin or something, and you're like, well, that was like huge. But it's also like you've got there's not a lot of them.
Yes, that goes back to the European releases of like, oh my gosh, if you love the Meta Barons, forget it. Right. It's like 4 to 5 years in between volumes.
Dude.
And then you're like, oh yeah, this doesn't end for another 15 years. So
yeah. That's one thing I will say about Manuele Fiore, that artist is cranking it out.
Dude, I know. Like every time I see
has quite a few books. Yeah. And it's funny because like in the States, if you're about caught up on like Hypericum just came out, but that's been out. He's already on the next thing. Like it's almost.
That's what I was saying. I was looking him up and seeing what else he's done because I
don't know if you checked this out. He had a pitch for a Batman series. Like it wasn't. I mean, it would have been like a mini,
series, right? Yeah, I remember that.
And he posted the pitch pages like late last year or so.
I saw those.
And man, I would have like been very, very curious to check that out. I feel like it was a huge miss that didn't happen.
I think I think a lot of it is like taking chances on that. Like
sure, I totally get that.
Not a big name, not right now. But to people that love that art style, absolutely, and huge, like that guy's gonna be huge. Like,
I mean, and he's definitely a lot more, notoriety outside of the States.
I need to look up 5,000 kilometers per second.
Oh man,
that's the one that I
it's
haven't read.
it's quite good. Blackbird's also a very good like anthology collection.
I've read that one.
Yeah, and they interview with the one that's all charcoal, with the
Yeah,
UFOs. That
dude,
one's incredible.
I forgot that he did that.
Yeah. It's he's what I really like about him too is that like he's definitely not afraid to just kind of stretch out and try different styles. And it's fun to watch Blackbird, you know, do that a bit with its stuff because he'll do stuff where it is sort of like kind of what I, you know, ink and then painting. And then he'll do, you know, a lot of gouache. But the charcoal and stuff. And anyway, I just very, very keen on how, you know, experimental he can be in trying to find stuff.
Was not familiar with Patrick. Just downloaded a sample of Beneath the Trees. Absolutely gorgeous. Excited to see how his art would look with some superheroes. Hey,
yeah, I mean, like I'm not against it. I'm definitely not as well versed in you know, either DC or Marvel stuff, so I would have to catch up to speed for sure. But I'm totally like I'm very much a fan of the stories that do show up that are off the beaten path, like. When you see the
thank you,
like Daniel Warren Johnson's especially his Wonder Woman.
Oh, Dead Earth. That
Dead
was
Earth,
so,
yeah.
His Beta Ray Bill story was so fun too.
Yeah, he's a blast. Well, same with Transformers, man. I mean, he's just like everything he touches, like he knows how to tell a great story, and his art is always in service to it in the best ways. And he's another huge inspiration. Like he just is so consistently great, I think, in what he's doing. And you know, lots of lessons to be learned from that creator for sure.
And he's definitely one that I know that, you know, people have had their eye on for a while now, and then he he keeps getting bigger and bigger. I've been a big fan of his stuff like since Space Mullet. Like that's
right on. Yeah. See, I didn't even hear of him until Extremity came out, like was just when the first trade of Extremity came out.
And that's getting a deluxe hardcover. So hey, there's anything's possible for
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know? Let me click on a couple of comments because this is coming in late to this. I'm actually expected to perform the work duties for which I'm paid. I just wanted to let Patrick know his issue of Haha was fantastic.
Oh, I appreciate hearing that.
Style match. And
thank you.
Ben is also a collector of original art. If ever you need to let go of any of your pages, by the way.
Oh yeah, I've got all those Haha pages still too. Yeah, I'm looking to. It's very possible later this year that I'll be selling pages.
Okay.
And then, as you mentioned, we've got those pages for free for all that are available on the Zoop campaign as well. Yeah, it's that was a big reason why I also wanted to do traditional, was to just have pages, and something you could sell later on, or just even have as a, you know, record of the work that you did. I was afraid that I'm not gonna lie, like when I was doing free for all, I had multiple backups on hard drives because I was totally freaked out that I would just lose everything.
Oh, you're one of those guys? Did you ever play video games and like RPGs where you had to hit save? And I did that like 5 times. I was so OCD about saving my game 5 times.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
It's like it's because I've been burned before. And it wasn't even, I got burned because I didn't have, like, it wasn't a ton of stuff because I am kind of, you know, I definitely love having double backups, but I basically, it was like I updated my Apple laptop and it was just a generation too old for doing that update, but it technically could have handled it, but it didn't. And so it got stuck in mid update. And the only thing I could do was do factory reset. After like 3 hours of talking with, you know, the Apple support, and they were like, "I'm so sorry, you just have to reset your computer." And I'm like, "That's cool." And they're like, I didn't have Time Machine set up, so it was just like I just lost like not a ton of stuff, but it was like it was just recent stuff. And I mean, that was on me. It was just dumb. I mean, how many times have you updated and it wasn't a problem, right? And it was just the one time that it was a problem. And it totally like wiped out. Probably I lost like maybe a couple weeks worth of work. And it was like that was the last time that I let myself not have like quadruple backups.
Especially on something you're creating. I hate that.
I
Like,
know.
I've oh my god, I have lost. So before I'm very blessed to be doing YouTube now for a living, but filming and editing, and I do kind of like you know, do it all myself.
Sure.
And I can't blame anybody if I lose something anymore. It's on me. And I have done
Right.
that. I've lost audio files. I've lost
Oh,
video.
sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I remember when my Mac dropped, I lost 2 videos that I had worked 3 hours on each.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nightmare. But when you work for yourself, it's like, who am I going to blame? Like, I got no one to
Yeah.
yell at but myself. And then I got to get back up and do it again.
Yeah.
But before that, I was in IT for 20 years.
Oh, sure.
And that was something that we try to get people to do. We had a cloud, but we were like, well, you may also want backups of that stuff because things get lost, and that's just the way it is, especially if everything is digital. So I can't imagine being a digital artist.
It's just be really nerve-wracking. Yeah. And the other thing was just like having where would you find announcements on these? So if
about your selling your
sure. If you, best way to keep tabs on what I got going on would be, the easiest way would be get onto my Substack newsletter, and I'll definitely be making announcements there. If you go to patrickhorvath.com, I've got a little Substack icon up there you can click on, and it'll take you right to it. And you could, that way, just email will just come right to your inbox, then you'll know. But I will be doing redundancies like on Instagram and Twitter and all that, just to make sure that it's out there and people know, because why not? But definitely easiest way, if you don't want to have to constantly paying attention, would be you'll get the email directly with the newsletter saying when it's going to happen. Definitely, like I mentioned, probably towards the end of the year. I'm thinking like maybe September to November, somewhere around there.
Awesome. I know that. Thank you. Wow, James is on top. James,
yes.
Link. James,
thank you. Thank you, James.
Yeah, if you ever need any file recoveries, James is the guy to go to.
Yes.
All right. So, has there been any announcements of you doing anything after?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Still trying to figure out stuff. I've definitely got multiple publishers that are interested in possibly doing something, and which is exciting.
That's awesome.
And everybody's very cool. I'm also meeting a lot of new artists that I've been looking up to for a long time, and I finally get to meet at conventions now. So that's very cool. And I'm always on the lookout for people to collaborate with. So I'm excited to see kind of what happens next. It's funny because I'm definitely under no presumptions that this is normal, what I'm being lucky enough to experience right now. So it's very strange having this being my first book and having been a jackpot, so to speak, because I don't know, if this is ever going to happen again. So I'm definitely like making the most of this moment in terms of, this is probably going to be the most conventions I ever do. And hopefully, I just get a chance to meet as many folks as I can. And I don't know if I'm ever going to have this many publishers that are interested in doing something new or whatever. So like, it's funny because like, there's been a lot of retrospective stuff around the series now that the last issue is coming out tomorrow. And a lot of it is and I knew this going into it, but like, there's a ton of good comics out right now, like so many great comics, for everybody to read. And it's very hard, even for good comics, to get like proper exposure. And so, a lot of that kind of comes from, in my regard, with like IDW putting a lot of power behind helping spread the word and, putting this out there with their marketing and publicity. And so it's very cool. But it's also like, it's been a strange kind of trip. And I totally appreciate that this isn't going to happen every day. But in terms of the future, like, it's funny because I'm trying to figure out like what's like the best, most exciting, fun thing to kind of jump onto next. If it is going to be more of this, that would be wonderful. If it's going to be something new, that would be cool too. And I mean, whatever it is, it'll definitely be out of my head, and so that'll be consistent at least. And hopefully people will be into that.
I think you're gonna be fine. I've you know,
I hope so.
just where you're drawing inspiration from and how creative and unique your style is, and I think it's gonna be good, man. I can
that.
see you, and you know, not a lot of people just have 4 pitches thrown together, right? Most people are like, I've got 2 good pitches, one that's the one that I'm hoping people choose, but 4 pitches. You know, pretty creative. Were you a fan of the busy world? I do have that question.
I was a fan of the books for sure.
Yeah.
That's 100% where that came from. I drew the I mean, I've mentioned this elsewhere, but like I came up with the drawing like maybe 7 years ago or so of this bear. It's an anthropomorphic bear walking around with a bloody axe on his shoulder. It's just like a drawing. And I sort of immediately had the idea of like, oh, it'd be funny if this was like a bear in like Busy Town and they were a serial killer and nobody knew it. And then I immediately had the next thought of like, oh, it'd be funnier if there was like another killer also in town and then they had to figure out who they were. Like that would be fun. And that was kind of that, you know, the weird little pitch for it just all came together in my head right then. But it 100% was the Richard Scarry books were the hook. Because it would just, they're so wholesome. They're just so cute and wholesome that like, what a horrible thing to do to that town.
Let me see. I would recommend Heroes Con, and Elon saying Josh
awesome.
under his wing at Heroes Con. Josh is a comic, cool. a fantastic artist and writer. He does his own self-published stuff too.
Oh, very cool.
So he knows all about the grind,
noted.
Man.
Duly noted. Yeah, that would be wonderful. When is Heroes Con? I'm sure I'll look it up. I can totally look it up too.
James,
without being lazy.
When is Heroes Con?
But yeah, right. I'm sorry. I do not mean to outsource this. I can
no.
I'll totally look this up myself.
September, I believe.
Okay.
Or August. I can't remember.
It's a possibility.
No. It's in the summer. It's in the summer. That's why.
Is it in July? July is kind of crazy.
June 14th.
Oh, dang it. I don't know if I can do that because I'm doing Boston.
When is Boston?
I think it's like right around then.
And that's in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know, you can.
Yeah, I need to go to Heroes Con. Everybody at C2E2 is very much into Heroes Con.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best conventions I've been to in America. It's because it's about the comics and it's less about. I mean, even Heroes Con had, although Heroes Con, or I'm sorry, C2E2 did a really good job focusing on comics this year more than I've ever seen them do in the past.
That's good to hear. You know, it's wild. I mean, it was a good con. Like it was definitely felt bigger than WonderCon. But it was also
it's one of the biggest cons, yeah.
It was also like about the same for us. Traffic wise, like at the table, which was wild. Because I was expecting it to be more based on because there was definitely more people. But I think there's just more to do. You know what I mean? Like there's just it is more than comics, kind of what you mentioned.
Oh yeah, it's entertainment. And, yeah. I mean, if you saw the wall, like so you were on Artist Alley and all the way towards the back is where you would see like the Power Rangers and the voice actors, actors. Who was it? Like they had the cast of some I had a panel there this year. And there was somebody else like from the cast of a TV show that had the panel around the same time. It's like Rick and Morty, I think. So.
Oh, sure.
Whereas Heroes Con focuses more on just the comics.
Just the comics.
It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I need to go.
You should absolutely
go to Heroes Con. But yeah, I don't because I feel like Boston's like when's Boston? I'm going to Dallas. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Boston that weekend, guys. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I'm sorry. I didn't know. Yeah, we're doing Dallas June 6th, and then the very next weekend we're doing Boston.
Oh man, you're gonna be busy. Good on you.
And then July we're doing Torpedo in Glendale, and because it's really close by, and then we're doing San Diego right after that.
Dude, Torpedo is a fun shop. The guy from System of a Down, the drummer owns that shop.
Oh, for real?
Yes, and I've been drinking with that guy. He is one hell of a guy,
Awesome.
and he is best friends with Jim Lee. So when you go to that
Oh, okay.
shop, he will ask him to show you his drum set. He has
Oh, cool.
original Jim Lee art on his drum set,
Oh, cool.
which is
That's
just
super
and
cool.
his wedding present from Jim Lee is this giant picture that he has in the back of the
That's so
Punisher
cool.
and Batman and Wolverine. I was like, "Oh, that's
That's super cool.
really freaking cool."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Patrick has
Yeah.
mentioned biking previously. For what it's worth, Boston is really good.
Oh man, I
City.
appreciate hearing that. Yeah. It's not as good as Denver. What was I going to say? Boston is, I've only been there once, but I've really enjoyed it. And I totally appreciate any bike city because I don't have a car anymore. And I haven't had a car for like almost 10 years now. So I've just been biking around. We share a car with my wife.
Okay.
But I love bike cities. Like, for instance, like I lived in Chicago for a while and I was just there for C2E2. Chicago is great for biking around compared to Los Angeles, especially, which is a shame because Los Angeles rains like 30 days out of the year or whatever. And you would think it would be better, but their biking is not great. So all the bike cities like Portland, Minneapolis, huge bike city. I'm glad to hear Boston is. Denver, I knew. Denver, like traditionally, is a great bike city. Has a long history of it. And Chicago is also rad. It just feels like it should be a lot better. If you got nice weather, like how come you don't have awesome bike infrastructure? Come on.
Man, you're really into biking. I miss it. My wife and I, we used to do a lot of bike trails, and we haven't since we moved to this new town. Boston has a really good bike share system called Hubway, and a ton of pedicabs.
Very cool.
There you go. Now you got to sell them on. Now you got to sell on Heroes Con.
Yeah, right. You're totally selling me on Boston. I'm just glad I went.
You want to say Copenhagen?
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh man, yeah. It's the whatever we think we got going on here in the States is nothing compared to them. It's the best over there.
I don't really think of biking when I think of Amsterdam and
oh really? It's awesome. Like I mean, it's literally just everybody taking their kids to school in the morning and the big bikes and
on bikes.
Oh yeah, like the super bike movers with the big like people can sit in the front, like all that fun stuff. Like they've got it figured out. It's pretty cool.
Huh. Okay. I don't know if I like biking that much, but more power to you if you do, man. That's awesome. Like, I love my kids, but they better do some pedaling too.
Well, it depends how old they are. This is for smaller ones.
Oh gosh, man. I remember my wife and I renting the double bikes and putting the kids in the front, and we went up this really steep hill.
Oh my god.
And I was like, surely they make one of these where the kids can pedal too, right?
My god, yeah. Well, I feel like electric bikes have probably like leveled the playing field a little bit in terms of having to do all that.
I didn't know this is where this conversation was going to go. Texas is great for biking as long as are actually cars.
Yeah. I feel like electric bikes are starting to get us there. We're almost at a place.
How fast does an electric bike go?
I mean, at least like 25 or something like that. 25.
Patrick, if I'm stuck behind you and you're on an electric bike and I'm in a car, you got to move out the way, man. You can't be going 25 miles an hour on a 45.
Yeah, well, why would I do that on a 45? I wouldn't pick that. That would be
because you ride bikes. That's why.
No. I'm very smart about it. I'll tell you what, Los Angeles, I don't know if you've ever biked in Los Angeles. You become very aware of the good places and the bad places to ride your bike. And you adjust accordingly. Because it's very like when I first moved here, I didn't get a bike for like at least like 7 years or something. Because it looked like nuts. It looked dangerous. It wasn't until honestly I had because I didn't have health insurance. And then finally when I did, I was like, okay, I'll ride my bike now. Because like I didn't want to go, bankrupt because I broke an arm or something. And so
I understand that, man.
Yeah. Because the drivers here are, I don't know if you knew this, but like we had more like deaths from pedestrian like traffic incidents than we did shootings, I think.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And it has to do with just like a lot of it were like poorly designed. It's bad driver's education and then poorly designed like intersections with walking. It's notoriously bad. Like drivers here are totally not. I don't know why. I think it might have to do with a lot of transplants coming to Los Angeles and just not understanding like how to drive around in it. But like it's dangerous. Like you got to be smart about it. So when you tell me that like my only option is riding my bike on the 40-mile-an-hour thing, in my mind, I'm like, no, not unless it's got a protected lane. I'm not doing that. That's foolish.
Yeah. Okay. So protected bike lanes means you don't need to get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
do drivers know that though?
Oh yeah. Well, it's protected. So they'll just hit like some sort of a, barrier or something.
Look, Josh, we're having a good time talking about bikes, and you're in here talking about comics. Acrylics are a great way to lay down shadows if you want to make a great fake black mixed paints.
Yeah, hell yeah, Josh. I'm all about it. You know what's interesting? That's I like that that Payne's gray and dioxazine purple. What was I going to say? Oh, the other thing that I really liked about, since we're sort of nerding out about it, Manuele Fiore, is that dude is very adamant about not photoshopping his stuff. He just fixes it on the page because he can just paint over it. And he's like, he fixes his stuff apparently that way. Like he doesn't.
But the style of paint that he uses, how can he just paint over it?
It's all just gouache. So like it's so thick that you can pretty much, it's opaque enough to go over it and fix it. It's also thin enough that you can, do whatever you want for washes as well. But it's kind of the best of both worlds in that regard. Same with Alex Ross. Like I believe he just uses all gouache. Like he's doing gouache on board, I think, and it's all super thick. He has a background in oil painting, I think, and then made the switch over to gouache.
I have no idea why that guy chose comics.
It's awesome. Like I mean, you don't get a lot of them. You basically just get the one Alex Ross, right, for all the different artists that are out there.
That guy could be making so much more money, like murals, like in city halls and stuff. I want to do comics.
Yeah, he has such a rock solid foundational drawing knowledge base that like he can essentially do everything that you would want to do. You know what I mean? In terms of like the realistic realm of painting.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he just like he's obviously put in like that's countless hours of that study. And then also his light work is incredible. Like it's the thing. Like he does like awesome bounce and subsurface scatter and stuff like that, like in his renderings and stuff. And like it's just so I mean, it's super fun to watch, but also so fun to have in the arena of comics that like it's, and I mean, the other thing is too, it's like, he gets this, I mean, like I've seen, there are a lot of great artists in the world, right? But like, it's so rare to have such a powerhouse doing comics. So like, it's so fun. And plus obviously his passion is like, this is a passion, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's apparent just from like, seeing his work, but also the interviews. It's like obviously apparent. And so it's so fun to just kind of see him be like a powerhouse in the comics world. Like, I love it.
So I say that because I've talked to him a couple of times, but my favorite story he shared with me is Barbara Bush was one of his biggest fans. And
weird.
Because I asked, I was like, what's the most normal painting you've done outside of comics? He was like, well, when the first lady asked me to do a painting of an eagle to put in, I think it was in a family room or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
I did a painting of an eagle. And there was no Superman or anybody. And then I asked who was it for, and he was like, Barbara Bush. And I was like, that's awesome.
So
like,
strange.
That's how good he was, though. Like he could be doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Says a lot about the state of the U.S. healthcare. I'm willing to get hit by a car riding my bike, but I can't afford it until
Amsterdam comes to mind again. But yeah, it definitely was. I didn't have insurance for a long time. It started the struggles of being an independent artist.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap in America.
It's a lot more affordable than it was before, but it's still not very. I mean, like before, it was just wasn't an option. Now it is.
Yeah, if bike riders were like you, it would be a different story. Bike riders in my town go 8 miles an hour uphill, run through stop signs, and squeeze between lanes to make abrupt right turns in front of
Oh,
vehicles.
yeah. You don't want to do. I don't know why. I mean, like, listen, if you go around riding like that and you do find yourself on the wrong end of somebody's, car, then I mean, that could happen, and that's 100% why I don't do that. I kind of ride my bike as if I assume nobody sees me. If nobody's, you know what I mean. So like, I'm definitely overcautious, but at the same time, I haven't had any problems yet. So it served me well.
That's the same way I've ridden my bike since I was a kid, because I got hit by a car when I was a kid.
God. Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was like the he was an older gentleman and he freaked out more than what happened, right? Because you hit a kid. That's the thing you don't do when you're driving a car. You don't hit kids or anybody. But I was riding my bike and it was completely my fault. It was my friend and I, we were just riding around and I didn't stop and we didn't stop and I just was trying to beat him home or something. I can't remember, but dude, I got hit and I remember not telling my dad because he was going to be pissed off if he found out that the bike got hit. And so I came home with like scraped knees and stuff. But yeah, that's since that day I rode my bike like
super cautious.
I can't. No one sees me, so I have to make sure I'm seen.
I mean, like, I'm all about the idea of. I think there was a law that was put out in California. I don't know if it even got voted in or not, but it was proposed law of making stop signs like yield signs for cars, for bikes. And I would totally be fine for that, only because, like, I can't tell you how many times I come up to stop signs. Like, I'll come up to stop signs stopping because I'm still playing like the right of way 4-way stop game with other cars. And if they're beating me to the thing, like I'll stop and then let them go. You know what I mean? Like I'm a car. And then I can't tell you how many times they still wave me on. And it's like, the stopping and the starting on a bike's going to take like a little extra time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So like the idea of, it's just all about eye contact and like checking in with people and making sure because if I don't see them see me, like I'm not just going to go in front of them. Because I mean, like same thing with motorcycles too, though, man. I don't know if you like motorcycles in Los Angeles are totally a thing, specifically in regards to like lane splitting and stuff like that. Like it's very much like you can kind of do a lot with a motorcycle in Los Angeles. But you can also surprise a lot of people with a motorcycle in Los Angeles because they might not be watching for you. And so it's just a lot easier to get into an accident.
Yeah,
So
my
you gotta watch out.
wife has been wanting a motorcycle, and because her dad had a Harley, and he was a Harley guy, and I was like, I don't know, like if that's what did I tell my mom and dad? I told them I got into a fight because that was a lot more believable. I would get into fights a lot when I was a kid.
Okay,
that was a lot more believable than saying that I'd rather take that ass whooping than getting the ass whooping or getting that bike beaten the hell.
No.
Yep. See, Josh, that's exactly what I did, man. Until I got in a fight, that my mom would get mad at me for fighting, and I'm like, I don't. But the kid would get fun of my brother. I don't know what kind of BS I came up with. But yeah, I think I'd rather get in trouble for that than tell my dad that the bike he paid for, even though it was like a third, like it was a hand-me-down of a hand-me-down of a hand-me-down, like a beat-up bike, but it was still new to us, right? Because so that's that. I haven't thought of that memory in years until you started talking about bike riding. I did not know that this is where the conversation was going to go.
Who knew?
Yeah, no idea.
It all informs it. I mean, I don't think it shows up in issue 1, but Samantha the bear definitely has a bike she rides throughout the course of the issues.
Oh, okay.
And that's very much from
now I'm hooked.
Being a bike rider. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm in, man. You've sold me on it. At least you can hear a Harley, also black belt motorcycle babe variant melting now. Yes, my wife is also a 4th degree black belt, and she wants a motorcycle. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, like I get it. Motorcycles are very fun. Also, insurance is really good on motorcycles. apparently part of the reason why it's so affordable, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'd heard it's affordable because like a lot of times if you are in an accident with a motorcycle, you don't survive a lot of the time, so they don't have to pay out.
Oh, that
Um,
makes me feel so much better about
so
my wife.
yeah, that's what scares the hell out of me. Just wear helmets, wear the jackets.
Yeah,
You just
that's
need leather. You need leather in the helmets.
My father-in-law was a badass. He was a dude's dude, and he would still wear a helmet, and people would be like, "Why are you wearing a helmet, man?"
Oh man. Well, I feel like I don't know how old he was, but if he came up at a certain age and time, I feel like there was definitely like they're like, we don't do helmets. Like, what?
Oh yeah, definitely. There were people that didn't do helmets until they
Mhm.
instated that law, and I'm really happy I could be the needed bike distraction.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. So remember Ben when he's trying to buy. I hope you buy an original piece with Samantha on a bike.
Yeah,
Just to
it
bring all
exists.
together.
Issue 2. There's most definitely one with her on top. I forget what exact page, and she's riding that bicycle.
I just pre-ordered the trade.
Awesome.
Oh, does it end on a cliffhanger? Or will it make me hate every day until volume 2?
I am sorry, and I cannot answer that question.
issue 6 comes out tomorrow, so people will find out tomorrow.
I don't want to. I feel bad I just want people to go into it with all the hope and expectations that they have on have with them.
From
Oh yeah,
medicine can confirm the motorcycle insurance.
Oh man, that's true. Okay,
that is so sad. That is so sad.
Yeah, it's gnarly. I mean, I've had a good friend of mine who had a crazy injury specifically from a motorcycle accident, and it always been very scary.
My dad had one, and he had a big motorcycle accident.
Yeah,
but it wasn't until years later, until I was in high school when I was thinking about getting one. He was like, don't get it. Don't do that. That's so stupid. And he told me this story of how he was checking out a chick and completely forgot to look ahead of him.
Oh no. Yeah.
And he sideswiped a car and he slid. And like for years, he would tell us that it was the bike's fault. Bikes are going to kill you. And no, it was completely his fault. He was distracted by checking out a young lady that was walking on the sidewalk.
Man, I mean it's just you just got to be real safe about it. There's a good way to do it, and you just have to take the classes, I guess, if there's classes to take. Like you just got to be able to learn how to handle it. Essentially, you just have to learn how to handle it, how it's going to operate in the wet and the dry and all of it, and how it is on gravel, all that stuff. It's because
I feel like a great collection to pages to own, with Samantha nicely riding her bike, and another one with a duck getting a nail through with his brains.
Yeah. Yes. Those would be good ones. I feel like that. I feel like those 2 pages are going to be crazy
to own
for selling. Yeah.
Oh yes. Let's. I've taken enough of your time, but is there anything like where can people find you and follow you? You talked about your Substack. Are you on social media?
Yep. I'm on Instagram at Catbird Planet, which again you can find out if you go to patrickhorvath.com. You can find that Instagram and Substack easily on there, and then also like Twitter. I'm at Patrick Horvath. If you Google my name, you'll probably find it. I'm also on like Blue Sky at social at Patrick Horvath. It's definitely not too hard to find me. Basically I'm just going to be on there promoting Free for All right now while the Zoop campaign continues for the rest of the month. And then also talking all about Beneath the Trees as much as I can while people are still interested in it. And then hopefully got something new to announce before too long. But we'll kind of see how things go.
And James has your information.
Oh, man, James, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. And a big thank you to you, Patrick, for swinging by and talking a little bit about bikes and bike trails and health insurance and all that. And of course your comics. And dude, and if you all have not checked out his movies like Southbound, oh my gosh.
Have a watch.
Go.
They're out there. They're still out there on streaming somewhere.
They're streaming, man. They're streaming. They're great. Thank you for your time, and big thank you to Jordan for setting up the interview. I have left, if you're watching this later, of course, left a link in the description of the video where it can take you directly to the Zoop that is on sale right now. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the wonderful questions, and you all still stay healthy out there. And if you're riding a bike, ride it like Patrick.
Yeah. Wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet and no one can see you. If you live in a constant state here.
Live in constant fear that nobody can see you and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the way to live life. I like that.